Hello, everyone. This is going to be our final report that we work on. We have 3 weeks to get through Portland cement concrete. The first week of this report, of the lab, we're going to go through preparing mortar cubes. The second week, we'll be going through preparing concrete cylinders, doing a slump test and air content test. And then the third week, we'll be doing compression testing of the mortar cubes and the concrete cylinders that we've prepared in these previous weeks. So before we really get into making mortar cubes, I want to make sure that we know the difference between cement, mortar, and concrete. Sometimes people can get cement and concrete mixed up, but cement is a binding element in mortar and concrete. It's a dry powder, and it reacts when you add water to it. And so it just looks like this, very fine powder. It's really not good for you if it becomes a dust in the air and you breathe it in. So it's really important to wear masks while we do any work around concrete, or if there's people cutting concrete with different machines and stuff like that, you want to wear masks, or you want to have a wet saw on that. So that's really important to be safe around the dry cement. Mortar is a mix of cement and sand and water, and it's used between bricks and blocks. And y'all have seen that it's on the side of houses and everything like that. So it's just different proportions of sand, cement, and water, and we'll see that in just a few slides. And then concrete is a mix of cement, sand, and coarse aggregate. And it's used to build a lot bigger things, large columns, walls, beams, foundations. They can add rebar to it to strengthen it too. And so that's how those three things are different from each other. The larger aggregate does make concrete a lot stronger than mortar. This only has the fine aggregate in it. This has the coarse aggregate, so it's got that strong aggregate to aggregate like skeleton in it, and then that cement and water mixture really binds it together and makes it strong. So for preparing mortar cubes, the mixing of the mortar cubes comes from ASTM C305, the standard practice for mixing of hydraulic cement pastes and mortars of plastic consistency. And then making the mortar cubes themselves is ASTM C109M, standard test method for compressive strength of hydraulic cement mortars using 2-inch cube specimens. And then ASTM C109, which is the one of making mortar cubes, it also covers how the cubes are going to be tested for compressive strength, but we won't cover that until 2 weeks from now. So when you do your report, ASTM C109, you can mention that as both making the mortar cubes and like placing them into the mold and curing them, and it also goes through how you're going to compression test them in the loading frame. So the equipment that you use for this, obviously we use a balance. We'll have a mixer. It's just a regular kitchen mixer is what you can use. Sometimes people just mix in a bowl with a scoop. But we have a mixer, the bowl, and the beater. We'll have a ladle or a scoop. We'll have some pans for putting our material into prior to mixing. We'll have a brass mortar cube mold, which is this contraption right here. It comes apart in half so that you can take the cubes out, and it also comes off this bottom plate. So it's a lot easier to extract the mortar cubes. And then we also have petroleum jelly to lube up the inside so the cement doesn't stick to the walls of the mold. It makes it a lot easier to extract. And then we also have a rectangular rubber tamp, which is this thing, and it looks a lot bigger than it actually is. It's 1 inch by 1/2 inch, and these molds are 2 inches cubed. So we use this tamp to tamp it. You'll see it in 2 slides, I believe, on the actual procedure for that. So the procedure for mixing, you want to weigh out your proportions of each mix into separate pans, and then you want to lubricate the molds for easier extraction of the mortar cubes, and remove excess lubricant. You don't want a whole lot of that sticking on there. You just want to coat it just enough to have some petroleum jelly on there. And then for this lab, we're going to provide y'all with 4 different trials of data with different water to cement ratios from 0.45 to 0.6. And you can see that the only thing that we vary in these is the weight of water. That way we can get 3 cubes out of each. We don't want to adjust the sand and cement as well. We want big enough proportions where we can get 3 cubes, because that mold has spots for 3 cubes. So you'll get data for 3 cubes for 0.45, and then 3 cubes for 0.5, and so on. And then you'll be able to average that data with the compressive strength. So for mixing, you will add your water to the bowl and then your cement, and then you want to mix in that mixer for 30 seconds on slow, and then you add your sand slowly over the next 30 seconds, still on slow speed. And once the sand is completely mixed, you want to turn it off, set it to medium, and then mix for 30 seconds. After that, you turn it off, you scrape the excess mortar that's on the sides. You want to scrape it down into the mess at the bottom of the bowl, just so it's together, and then you will let it stand for 1.5 minutes, and then you'll mix. After that 1.5 minutes, you'll mix for another minute on medium. After that, you remove the bowl from the mixture and you're done with mixing. When the mix is homogeneous, you'll want to place it in the molds in 2 lifts, and each lift will be tamped 32 times total, shown in this figure. So we do 8 tamps, and then we change the orientation of the tamp and do 8 more, and then we go back and do that twice. So we have 4 rounds of tamping, 8 for each round. And so you'll see me do this in the video, and we'll do that 32 times total. What I do is I place my first lift in all 3 cubes molds, and then I'll do 32 for each, and then I place my second lift and do all 32 for each again. That way I'm not doing 1 cube and letting the mortar sit out and begin to dry out, because you don't want that. You want it to be as similar as you can for each of them. And then once the molds are full, you're going to screed off the top, and you're going to let them sit in the curing room for 14 days. For this assignment, we're getting a 14-day curing, or a 14-day compressive strength of the mortar. So we'll just watch this video. It's a little long, but it goes through the entire process for us. So I hope you'll enjoy.
For the mortar cubes, this lab we're going to be making 3 specimen at each of the water to cement ratios. We've already shown you them in the PowerPoint, but the one that we're going to make today in the video is the 0.55 water to cement ratio. We've already weighed out all of our materials for this. We've got our sand, 687.5 grams. We've got our cement, 250 grams, and our water. The only thing that we change over those 4 different water to cement ratios is the weight of water. That way we have the same batch amount pretty much. And it's just going to change that water to cement ratio for us. The first thing, we want to make sure that we're wearing masks and gloves, because the cement can get in our lungs, get all over our hands. We don't want that. So that's a really important thing with lab safety. And glasses. I've already got my glasses on. So I'll go ahead and start the procedures. What we want to do first is, in our mixing bowl, we want to add the water to the bowl first. So 137.5 grams of water. We want to get all of that water, as much as we can. Some of it's going to stick. Then next, what we want to do is we want to pour in our cement into the water. So just pouring it in like that. You don't want it to dust up a whole lot, but it's going to. So that's pretty clean. Nothing coming off there. All right, and then what we want to do, you can try and coat the cement in water, just so it doesn't become a dust in the mixer. All right, that should be good. All right, we'll take our mixer and paddle, come over here, put this paddle in. It's kind of finicky. All right, got it. And then what we'll do is we'll mix on slow speed. We got it on the one facing down. We'll mix there for 30 seconds, and then we will add the sand in the next 30 seconds on slow speed as well. So you can come and look and see what it looks like right now. It just kind of looks like a slush. And I don't think the paddle's hitting the bottom of the bowl, so you can slowly raise it and try and scrape the bottom. But you got to be careful that the bowl doesn't go too crazy. I didn't keep a timer. I think it's about 5 more seconds. Alright. Now I'm going to grab the sand. This time I will time it. So now what we'll do, we will start the timer, 30 seconds, and we'll slowly dump this in, and then we'll stop it, turn it on medium for 30 seconds, and let that go. So I'm looking at the time. I know we've got time on the camera too. So we're mixing. That's about 30 seconds. So now we will switch it to medium and mix it for 30 more seconds. Alright, now what I'm going to do is, we're not done, we're going to let it sit. But I want to make sure to scrape all of it down into the mass of it. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll let that sit for about 1.5 minutes. While that's going, we're going to lubricate our molds. So the reason why we want to do this is because our cement and our mortar now will stick to this brass mold, and we don't want that. We want to make it easier to remove. So you just get some petroleum jelly and you just slather it in each of the molds, up along the corners, just along the walls. It makes it a lot easier to remove in a few weeks after they cure. And then we'll wipe out any excess too, because sometimes it gets a little too much in there. We want it on the bottom as well. So let's see. This is a really important step, because if you don't get your molds out right, they can crack. So you just want to do that. All right, so I think our timer is almost up, but finish this real quick. Grab any extra right here. All right. I'll come fix this once I come back. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to mix on medium for another 30 seconds. So we'll raise this up. And while that goes, I'm going to keep doing this. finished. Got it like that. So, now what we want to do is we want to put our cement in our molds. We're going to make 3 of them. And we want to put them in 2 lifts. And we're going to tamp them with the pattern that you've already seen a total of 32 times. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop some of this in each of the cubes. Make sure you get enough in there. And the reason why you tamp in that weird pattern is because you're trying to get out all the air voids that could be stuck underneath from scooping it, from mixing it. So we'll follow this pattern here. I'm going to be watching it so I remember what to do, but I'm going to do them all 32 times and then I'll do my second lift. But it's not hard tamps. You're not trying to compress it too hard. You're just trying to work out some of that air. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 16 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now our second lift, like always, you want to put over the top so you have excess when you're done. So we can do that. We'll wipe away any of that. Okay, same tamping procedure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. It's kind of hard to see those edges. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, kind of hit the start on that last one. All right, so next, what we're gonna do. So we want to make it a lot nicer than that because that's not a cube. So what we'll do here is, just in case we lose any on the bottom or around the sides, it doesn't get on the table. Instead of, you can't really push it off because it just kind of pulls behind it like that. And so what you have to do is you kind of make a sawing motion and it kind of smooths out the top. We can kind of push that to the side. See, it makes that nice smooth top on it. You can go back against it. So that looks pretty close. I'm gonna wipe off all that. Just try and get the mold clean as you can. Done. All right, now I'm going to, one more time, I'm going to do that sawing motion just to make it look pretty on the top because there's some lines. So that's fine. Okay, clean that up pretty nicely. There we go. All right, now let me wipe it once more. It's a very tedious process, but it needs to be done. A little bit on there. Okay. Looks pretty good. Wipe off this. Set right there. All right, I think we're good to go. So now, just make sure, should have done that prior in the video, but I didn't because I knew it was good. Now we'll take these molds and go to our curing room and we will be finished. Come on and check it out in here. So what's happening is this moisture room, concrete does the best when it's curing with lots of moisture. If not, it's going to crack. And so it's going to get really strong in here while it cures in this moisture room. So we'll let that sit for 14 days.
So that's the whole process for making mortar cubes, mixing the mortar and making the cubes themselves. So next week we're going to cover the preparing concrete test cylinders, slump test, air content test. So that's just the next step of our lab. And then 2 weeks from now we'll be doing the compression strength testing. So thank you.